Hello.
And welcome to Hair Loss Goss.
With me, James.
And me, Sally.
Sorry, Sally's just making a funny face thing. And today we're joined by a very special guest, Josh from Josh Hair Systems. We wanted to bring Josh on because not only has he got experience with himself, with his own story on hair loss, but he decided to kind of put that into practice and set up as a hair system specialist, much like us with Cheshire Hair Clinic. So we wanted to bring him on just to talk a bit more about his experiences and just have a bit of a chat. So welcome, Josh.
Thank you very
Where's
much.
your salon?
Well, I rent a chair at the moment
Okay.
in a friend's barbershop. I have a little private room, and then I offer mobile as well.
And where are you based?
That's Whalley, Lancashire.
I called
Yeah.
it Wally earlier. I don't know why I called it Wally.
Whalley. Yeah, it's Whalley. It is written like Whalley, I guess.
It is, yeah.
And how long have you been doing... Are you a barber then?
I'm a barber by trade.
Okay.
So I've been a barber for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And then got into the hair systems about probably just over a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah, after having my own one fitted.
Oh, so it was after
Yeah.
you had it fitted?
Yeah, after. Yeah.
Yours is really good. I do them as well. And I generally forgot. So have you got a full one?
No, I've got a partial, so it sort of goes up to about there, half.
okay.
Next week I'm getting a full one.
Oh, are you?
Go
I'm
for
getting
it.
really thin at the back. My missus was saying the other day, she was like, "Oh, I think you need to go for a full one now," because
It's normally the way, though, isn't it? If people
Yeah.
go, they kind of dip their toe a bit. They're like, "Oh, I want
exactly,
a frontal," and then,
yeah, that's it. I've just found it going so thin at the back,
Yeah.
and it just and because I want that really long full look,
Yeah.
it's just going to be better, I think. Yeah,
And will you do it?
I'll probably get my pal who works for me.
Yeah.
Who owns the shop? I'll probably get him to cut it in for me because he's a good hairdresser and that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So tell me a bit about the spec of your system then. So what is it, a poly or
This
a
is
lace?
a poly. This is like a 0.4, 0.5.
Yeah, it's
so
quite thin, yeah.
I really like the thin ones if I'm brushing it back. But if I'm wearing it like a normal hair system, I'll probably go for a 0.8.
Yeah.
Just because it lasts longer. This one,
I was
I'll
going
replace a lot.
to say they're
yeah.
probably quite good, the thin ones, for the frontals because they're so
Yeah,
realistic.
exactly.
But they wouldn't last you very long, would they?
No, I think I tend to get about 3 months.
It's not too bad.
It's not too bad, but like, yeah, I try and avoid selling them to clients because they, especially if it's their
Just
first
rip
one,
and stuff,
they,
don't
yeah,
they?
they just won't know how to deal with it. Whereas obviously we're a bit more experienced with
Yeah.
it. We can be a bit more careful and know what to do. So.
Or the opposite, just be like,
Well,
exactly.
yeah.
You know what you're doing, don't you?
Yeah.
So how do you bond it? Is it tape or glue?
You know what? I swap and change. I tend to go for like tape at the back and then glue, and that's purely just to speed it up.
Yeah.
I just can't be bothered waiting for the whole glue to cure and stuff.
Yeah.
But I do prefer a glued hairline.
Yeah.
Because it's just flatter.
Yeah.
You know,
totally.
So I have had the tape in the past and it works, but I just find just that slight rage, you can get dirt trapped in it, you know.
And then you have to constantly clean it and worrying about taking
Exactly.
And how often do you have to take that off and redo it?
3 weeks.
Do you get a 3 weeks out of frontal?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's very good.
Yeah, yeah.
That's very
Yeah,
good.
I might in between.
What glue are you
lift
using?
this up like I did this morning, just redo the hair.
Yeah.
But I use like the purple one. Can't remember what it's called. Ghost Bond.
Purple, Supreme.
Supreme. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I use the purple one, especially for today. Hopefully, like if the lights are shining, it can't reflect.
Yeah.
I just use that one just because.
okay.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah,
Really impressed.
It's
very
a little
impressed with
tip
the
for
frontal.
for the frontals. If you got your hair pushed back, use a bit of that purple in the front.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
get the light reflecting off of it.
We use a lot of Supreme, don't we?
Yes.
But we also quite like the XL. Sorry, guys, listening to this, we're having a bit of an inside chat here. But like, there's so many different bonding choices, isn't there?
Yeah.
But
And different strengths of glues.
Yeah.
Because you've got Platinum, Supreme,
XL.
XL, moisture resistant ones,
Yeah.
even scent
Transderm.
resistant
Well,
ones.
I don't know. Whenever if you look now, they've got hundreds.
Yeah.
Like watermelon, coconut, and
Yeah.
and all this, and I'm like, oh my god, it's just.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's
Yeah.
just key.
Less
if you've
is
got
more,
two
I
or
think.
three
Yeah.
ones that you know that they're going to do the job. So when did you start losing your hair then?
I'm trying to think of my wedding photos now. How long was that?
You got to remember when you got married.
Yeah. So I reckon for sure 2014. So I was probably early 20s.
Okay.
And just wasn't really aware of it. And then I remember seeing a wedding photo, which was 2014, and a huge recession.
But you didn't see it at the time,
I
probably.
didn't really notice it because
Yeah.
I mean, especially I just didn't even think about it. And then I'm trying to think who must have brought it up. I must have seen a friend or something and thought, wow, his hair looks better than mine.
Yeah.
But again, it didn't bother me that much, you know. And then sort of working with hair professionally for that long and then seeing that many different types of hair coming in and out. and then having to work with other people's hair receding, trying to do haircuts to try and cover it up for them somehow. And then I realized that, I'm pretty much the same. Like, because I got so used to like, let's do this cut, let's do this, style it like this, and then you can't see the recession. And then I sort of thought, oh God, like we're there. And then I just got searching through social media. I think it was my wife actually that said, look at this. And it was one of Hair Repair Club's posts. Gluing some hair on, and I was like, no way. And then as you do, you just start flicking through, zooming in and everything, and I was like, wow, that's incredible. So then I like literally straight away, we were in Spain at the time, and I was like, I'm going to go and do this. And then lockdown happened. And then we moved back to the UK. We just sold everything, sold both businesses, sold the house.
So you lived in Spain? You weren't on holiday? You were there?
We lived in Spain for like 16 years.
Wow.
So that was our life.
Can you speak Spanish?
I can speak Spanish.
Fluent, can you?
Yeah, I don't know about fluent anymore, but we've been back about 3 years.
Okay.
So I haven't spoke Spanish. I think we went on holiday and I spoke.
How do you find the weather?
Yeah, it's horrible. I don't mind it when it's cold. I just hate the rain.
Yeah,
that's the only thing.
We get a lot of that.
Yeah. We're based up in the northwest, so that says it all, doesn't it? Wow. So you came back from Spain, and then you had lockdown. And had you had the system installed?
No. So we had lockdown, and then I had all the time in the world then just to worry about my hair. Like, there was nothing else to do. So it was either watching Game of Thrones or worrying about my hair. So I was just searching through and just looking. I was like, right. So I messaged Tom. I reached out through the website and stuff, and obviously they were closed. And then we just said, look, let's just move back to the UK. Like, I don't know if it was just a spur of the moment thing.
Yeah.
But I think maybe my wife went on holiday and found, I don't know, she came back in the summer or something, so it looked beautiful. She was like, oh, it's amazing here. Let's move back. So I just said, right, if you can sell the business and the house, I'll move. And then she literally did that in, how long was it? 2 weeks.
That's an efficient woman.
Yeah. 2 months. No, but she got it sold. She got everything together and everything. Right, we're gutting this. And we sold everything. And I was like, all right, I guess we're moving back. So I thought I may as well go for this hair thing. So I got my frontal done. It was even smaller than I had now. And it was just a tiny little piece, but it made such a massive difference. And I was just like, this is amazing. And then I was like, I just wanted to do that for the people.
Yeah.
You know, that feeling of just, it's a massive confidence boost. And it sounds so silly to people who look at it and go, oh, it's glued on, it's this, but it's a huge boost to a man's confidence. And once you get used to it, especially, you know.
Hair is an identity as well, right? Isn't it?
It is, yeah.
When you're so used to, from a young age, having a lot of hair and styling it from school, college, uni, whatever, and then hormones take over or genes take over, and you start getting that recession, the widow's peak, or it starts getting a bit thin on the crown, you're a bit like, I want more than that. And you feel like your identity's being lost.
I think so, yeah. I mean, you notice it even more when you wear one and you take it off.
Yeah.
And you're like,
we were talking about
oh God.
Yeah.
Like,
the amount of clients it gets, oh my God, get it back on. Get it back on.
They do it all the time. Go, I can't wait to get this off, and take it off and they go, oh God.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get it back on now. But that is a feeling, and then that gives you a real understanding of, can I be bald? Can I be happy being bald? And most people aren't.
Yeah.
Most people settle for being bald.
Yeah.
Which I found, and most people in general look better with hair. Jason Statham's probably a rare exception. But it's like most people do look better with hair, because everybody always says, I don't know if it's going to suit me. I don't know what I'm going to feel like with hair. I haven't had hair in 20 years. And I just always say, like, I guarantee you're going to feel amazing.
Totally.
That's, you know, I can't imagine just going to take it off and think, I prefer to be bald.
There's a lot of psychology, isn't there, around that kind of brave the shave. And it's like, there's nothing brave about shaving your hair off. You shouldn't have to feel pressured or pushed into a way of doing stuff because you're a man of a certain age. There is a choice to it. Bald is being a choice now. It's not a case of, even if you don't go down the hair system route, you can have transplants of various different methods. You know, you don't have to.
No, there's lots of options. So would you say, like, your clientele is more systems now, or more just barbering?
Definitely more hair systems.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. I've taken on 3 new clients last week, so I'm probably 70-30 now.
Yeah.
In the favour of hair systems, so most of my time is just spent doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a strange one when you do it as a job. You probably know what I mean. Like my wife goes crazy at me, so I'll wake up at 7 a.m. I'll answer messages. I'll go to the gym. I'll go to work.
Yeah.
I'll come home. I'll answer messages, do a reel, answer more messages, and then do it all over again. It's so intense, the amount.
No, it's not just being.
No,
there's a lot of admin.
It's not just on the shop floor. It's so much. There's so much admin involved, but it just shows the level of the amount of people that want this,
yeah,
that show interest, and it's just overwhelming at times.
It used to be quite a niche thing, I think, but not anymore. It's become much more mainstream.
I think there's like no stigma attached to it now.
No,
which is what I think Tom set out to do.
Yeah.
Well, here's a question for you both then. So, James, you wear a hair system and you wear a frontal. This question gets asked a lot by clients to me. Do you think you are classed as a catfish if you have a hair system?
No.
I don't think you are, because ladies wear extensions, makeup, you name it. But it is a question.
But if you get a hair system that's installed right and done by a professional and that's trained, there's no way that person on a first date, if that was the scenario, for example, would be able to tell.
I can imagine it is a hard one. So say if you've got a hair system, you go into the dating world, whether it's a woman or a man, and then you kind of get to and you meet somebody already with it. It must be a pretty difficult subject to approach though, and go, oh, by the way, I have got a hair system. It's not a big deal at all, but it must feel a big deal.
So I think
for that side,
I can give you a flip side of this. So I had a client, a new customer the other day, so we just ordered a system, and he said to me, I won't mention any names, so you probably know who he is if you're watching this, but I said like, what made you make the decision? Because he messaged me a year ago, and then he came in and he said, I want to do it, I want to go for it. So it's like sound, colour match, etc. And I said, what made you make the choice? Like, it's been nearly a year. And he said, I met a girl, and then I went round to her house and stuff like that, and she was like feeling my hair, and she said, are you using like coloured hairspray? He said it was just full of fibres. Yeah. And then he's had to take a big bag of the spray, the fibres, everything. Hope to God she doesn't touch. Hope to God he doesn't sweat too much as well. Yeah. So what's worse? What's more? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I'm completely for it, and I think it's amazing. But I still feel that there's guys that still feel like they have to hide it, and it's only like girls going.
We do have a couple of clients who magically have still kept it away from like significant others and friends, clients. and it's quite interesting, the psychology behind that, because really, it, like you say, it's not a taboo anymore. There's not massive stigma behind it, and if you look amazing with hair, then you look amazing with hair. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's it. And I think the older you get, you realise that you don't care what anybody thinks, and you do it for you, and that's a different thing.
Totally.
I urge all my clients to tell all their friends to show them the videos before they get it done. Yeah. And it takes that power and that anxiety away from them in particular.
Yeah, I always say you're better off just being out and loud and proud about it, because otherwise you're worried about, will people notice? And then the fact is they don't notice, but you've got them worries.
Nobody's going to imagine that you've got something stuck on your head.
No.
That's the thing I always say. Like, that's not going to be somebody's first thought. They're going to be like, his hair looks good, or it looks... they're not quite sure, but they're not going to think you've got.
Well, it's like I forgot you had a frontal, and I do them, and I literally kind of just sprung into my mind. I only remembered. They look amazing. If you don't know, you really, really don't know.
No.
Yeah, no, I think there's a definite positive messages coming out of this, rather than it being something that you should be worried about, because you're looking to change something about yourself, and maybe get some of that identity back, or just get some confidence back. And if you're a young guy, like I started losing my hair when I was about 19, 20, not loads, but like I'd just get a few bits coming out on the pillowcase in the morning or in the shower, and get some in my hands. That feeling's awful, and that feeling of, oh God, like why am I losing my hair? So you go down the route of medication and stuff like that. And for me, transplant was never an option, really. I don't know if you ever considered it, but
no, not really. I have seen some good ones come through the shop, and they're really good. I've never seen a good full head transplant. Yeah, I've seen good hairline transplants, and that's the thing that bothered me. And I've had 2 or 3 people I know get the front done, and then the back goes. Yeah. And then it's another $6,000 for the back if it works. Yeah. And it's one of them. I've got 2 or 3 clients that have had transplants. One of them's had 4.
Wow.
4. That's mad.
And do you find though that the clients that have had the hair transplants that now have a system, there's all scars at the back?
He didn't have scars, to be honest, but he just had wiry hair just stuck up on the top. Loads of it. And then another client of mine, it all fell out. He just kept a little bit of the hairline, luckily. But I think it was some finasteride. He didn't bond well with the finasteride.
I see.
So he had to stop taking it, and it all fell out. Yeah. And this is what people don't understand. I get messages from people all the time, oh, transplant's only this much. I'm like, no, like look at the ongoing costs of the medication you need and all the side effects of all the medication.
Exactly.
So it's a huge expense.
It is, and you've got to look at it across the whole life. And whereas with a transplant, you've got, yes, you can have your hair growing out of your head. You've got to worry about the density, and we've all seen those transplants which haven't worked particularly well, and people have gone down the route of hair systems.
Some of them do work, some of them do work, and some of them look amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that the main difference between a system and a hair transplant is you'll never get the density what hair system can give you off a transplant. So if you're happy with a lighter density look, hair transplants are great. But if you want that full thickness, you don't think no matter how many hair transplants you'll never get that density.
I agree.
I think is the best way.
Also, not a lot of people who are losing their hair and actually decide, unless you're young enough and you decide to go for a transplant, not a lot of people have the time that they want to wait 2 years to see if it's worked.
Of course,
and that's a big thing as well. If
you're
mid-40s and you think, I'm going to do this, and in 2 or 3 years I'll see if it's any good.
Yeah.
I think that's a factor as well.
Based on your donor hair as well, you've got to have enough of it on the sides and the back to make it worthwhile. And if you don't have an awful lot, and you go to maybe somewhere that is just looking to cash in rather than actually help you, then the danger is that you could end up with the worst of both worlds rather than the best.
I know.
So I just like I say, I'm not slagging them off at all, but when you see pictures of guys with like balloon heads from the swelling, and it just looks really painful. And then where you come in to have a hair system, and 2 hours later you go out like a new person. You just think that's just amazing.
Definitely. Well, we are on future episodes going to be speaking a bit more about hair transplants and the different methods that are available, because it's all about choice, right? And some people might want to go down that route. But I'm just so interested. So Josh's wife Ainsley's here. I was just wondering, Ainsley, if you could come over and just have a quick kind of couple of minute chat with us. Just from a kind of like a partner's perspective.
Do you want to bring a chair over?
Yeah, shall we get a chair over? Sorry, this is very unprofessional mid-podcast.
It's okay.
But we'll get there.
She's seen everything. No, I'll take mine off and just walk around the house while it's curing and stuff. So.
Oh yeah, my kids, whenever I take mine off and walk around the house, they're like, "Oh, the monk is in the house." Friar Tuck.
Yeah.
So we'll just get Ainsley in here just to have a quick chat. Yeah. So obviously you've been with Josh for a long time.
15 years.
15 years.
Wow.
A long
Medal required. Yeah. And so I was just wondering how his hair loss, did it affect you in any way as a partner?
I would probably say he didn't stop going on about it, and sort of once he sort of realised, he kept saying, do I just shave it all off? Shall I just shave it all off? And I was like, it's up to you, honestly, it's your decision. So it sort of were a bit annoying, listening to him going back and forward. And I said, if you want my honest opinion, and that's always the best policy.
Always.
So I sort of said to him, is there other things that you could do other than shaving it off?
Yeah.
And then that's when we were looking into all different things. I think you sort of did look at a transplant, but wasn't sort of...
I think your words were, you can't shave it off because your nose is too big.
I do
honestly, trying to come across all nice.
In a nice way. You have sort of big features, so you're sometimes gonna make it look a little bit bigger, I think. But so I sort of said, is it possible that you could maybe look at other ones? And then we came across hair repair.
Hair Repair Club are kind of like the leading, I would say, leading hair system suppliers. And
I think have they been around the longest?
They've been around a long time.
I was going to say they must be getting on to 10 years now, because when we trained with them, it was 8 years, was it?
Yeah, so we've been going for 2 and a bit, so...
I think at least 10 years, haven't they?
Yeah. But those guys are really good. They're based in Derby, and we're going to either get Tom or Fletch on, actually.
Hopefully so.
So in the new year, we're pre-recording a lot of these episodes, so you might be listening to them in 2025. But we're now recording this just before Christmas, so we'll be getting them on, hopefully. So in terms of when he got his hair system, like, was it like, wow, that's amazing, kind of?
Yeah, I mean, the first one that you ever had was the first front bit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it just completely just had so much more confidence when going out.
Did you notice that then with him massively?
Yeah, definitely. And I remember one of Josh's first clients that he did, and I was there and I was helping out, and it was honestly, it was phenomenal. The actual vibe in the room.
He cried.
It was just phenomenal. And and then he come back in for his maintenance, and then he sort of was like, she's not sure about it. So that confidence, it's sort of like, you know, obviously she met him, you know, with probably not as much confidence, and then excelled in that, and they were a bit at weren't they? But the confidence, it is amazing.
Oh, what? So she didn't like the fact that I'd come across that. I think a couple of my clients, I think the girls get a bit jealous because they look amazing, and they're like, "We're not going to go elsewhere," and because they feel threatened by the amount of confidence that a hair system can give.
Yeah, it was. They go from, you know, a 5 out of 5 to a 10 out of 10.
Like,
it can change.
Oh, it's amazing.
It knocks years off. Just the aging or the lack of aging process, but having some hair to reverse aging is just amazing. There's so many benefits for it. So well, I think we're going to wrap up on this episode. Thank you very much, both of you, for coming on and having a chat. And we'll put a link on for Josh and his business if you want to take a look at that. We'll look forward to seeing you on our next episode.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys. Bye.